Hey guys, it's Elisa, and I'm here today with a request that I received in my email. I have a lot of requests waiting for me. I think I have about 5 or 6, because as soon as I knock one out, another one seems to get sent in. So I do have a line waiting, and I will eventually try to get to all of them. But I'm also a full-time college student, and I'm employed, and I just don't have time to do all the requests because they require thought, and they require at least 15 minutes to sit down. And as y'all know, I never post the first video I record. It's always the third or fourth one. So this request is very, very short. It's literally just one sentence, and it's very general. I don't know if it's they didn't say if it was directly to me or as a whole, but the question says, it's not even "Hey Elisa" or nice videos or anything. It just says, do you think it's better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all? That's literally all it says. And then it says the person's name at the bottom. And I don't know if they mean it directly to me or in general. And I can't answer it if it's general, so I'm guessing it's to me personally. But this is a topic that my roommate and I recently... I really want my hair to get longer because I miss having long hair. My roommate and I recently had this conversation because her and I, well, I'll get into it in a second. So this question, do you think it's better to have loved and lost than never loved at all? For those that don't really understand what it's asking, it's basically saying, do you think that because the relationship ended, it was still worth doing? And for me, it all depends on how the relationship ended. There are some relationships that I had where it was definitely worth it. The experience was great. I had great times with the person. And though it ended, I don't regret carrying through with the relationship. If you were to go back in time to the minute that you met them, knowing that you guys would crash and end, would you still meet them? That's basically what this is asking. And there are some people, yeah, I definitely would have carried through because I had a good time with them. I learned a lot. It was all worth the experience and everything. But then if y'all don't know, there's one relationship that I constantly allude to in all my videos, and I've had a ton of relationships, but I've only had one serious one, and that's the relationship that I'm going to be centering my answer off of today because it is different. And to be straightforward, I don't know if it was worth it. I had someone ask me a couple of days ago, one of my really best friends, she said, would you go back in time and turn around the minute that you walked through the door, knowing that you guys would end and you would go through the pain that you went through? And I didn't know how to answer that because I had a lot of fun with my ex-boyfriend. That was something that I've never ever experienced before, and it's something that a lot of people don't get to experience, at least by the time they're maybe 20 or 25, 30. But I got to experience it at 17 years old, and it was a very mature relationship. It was very genuine. It was very loyal and faithful, and it had good morals and good intentions and good standards and values, and there was nothing about that relationship that I don't like. However, when it ended, I fell apart. And I don't want to go into too much detail because it is a very personal story, but I don't know if it was worth it because the way my ex and I are now, I don't know if it was worth it. We ended on really bad terms. It's kind of hard to explain, but basically he was not only my boyfriend, but he was also my best friend. And when I lost him, I lost my best friend and I lost my boyfriend. I lost my secret keeper. I lost the person who kind of held me together through everything, which I learned the hard way that you should never rely on someone else to hold you together. You should be your own glue and your own bond. And if him and I would have ended on good terms, maybe not friend terms, but at least on cordial terms, where we could pass each other and say hey, or I could ask him how his mom's doing or how his dog's doing. If we would have ended on terms like that, then maybe I wouldn't feel the way that I do. Maybe I wouldn't regret it, or maybe I wouldn't have such a bad taste in my mouth. But it's the fact that when I pass him on campus, I have to act like I didn't spend over a year of my life with him. Or if I see his best friend, I'm not allowed to say hey to him because we were told not to talk to each other. Or it ended on such bitter terms, disgusting terms, to the point where if I see him, I literally have to act like I don't know who he is. Or 8 months later after the breakup, he blocks me on social media. I don't understand why he acts the way he acts and why he's so hostile towards me, because the breakup itself, like when the action was going on, it wasn't dirty. There was no yelling, no screaming, no fighting. It was very calm, and I didn't do anything to have him turn against me. So he's turning himself against me, and it really makes me see less of him and like really see him as a small, insignificant, immature child who I can't think fondly of anymore, if that makes sense. Like I can't look, like, yeah, I look back on the memories and I smile and I laugh, but I look at that, okay, so like the relationship is here, you know, it ended, it crumbled apart, it definitely had like an expiration date on it, and then you have my mental health, which I'm stuck with for the rest of my life. I don't think that this deserves to be below this. Like, you should always put yourself first and your mental health first, and the way he executed the breakup and the way he is handling the post-breakup, it makes me almost regret carrying through with it. Like, I met him in a building. Like, I don't want to go into details like what building it was or why I was in the building, but like I literally walked through the doors and I met him. And if I would be knowing what I know now, rewind back to the summer of 2015 when I met him, I don't think I would walk into that building. Because yeah, I had a lot of fun. I have a lot of stories to tell, but at the end of the day, they're just memories. They're just memories that I'm not allowed to talk about because I'll appear weak. They're just memories that I'm not allowed to talk about because people will assume that I'm not over him, or that I'm still dwelling on him, or I'm still dwelling on a future with him. Like, they're just things that they're only confined to my head. You know, after a certain amount of time, you're really not allowed to talk about the relationship anymore because people say, oh, that's all you ever talk about, or oh, you're clearly not over him. Like, I have these memories, but they're only good for myself. And what do I do with them besides think about them? Nothing. So I don't know if it was worth it. Like, sometimes in the day, I'm like, yeah, it was definitely worth it. You know, we did so many crazy things together that a lot of people don't do. Like, I don't know if I should say some of the things on here because many of the things were not very legal, but like we had a bunch of fun. And sometimes I just like lay in bed at night and I just laugh at all the stupid things that we've done and all the memories that we made. But, you know, all the things that we did to like all the pictures that we took, they're all deleted. All the souvenirs we got from everywhere, I threw them away. Like, everything that I have is just, all I have left is a memory, and I can't do anything with it. So all I have left at the end of the day is memory and a crippled mental health because of what I went through, and I don't know. Some days I'm like, yeah, it was definitely worth it. But other days I'm like, it's not worth it. Like, the pain that I'm feeling because I lost him is not worth it. And sometimes I want to take it back just for the sake of having myself back, because I'm definitely not the same person I was when I dated him. But other days I'm like, you know, I'm glad I did this, because if it wasn't for that, I couldn't be making these videos. I couldn't be helping people. You know, I'm helping at least 16 people right now. Not at the same time, but like on average, I'm helping about 16 people at a time. And if it wasn't, you know, for that relationship, I couldn't partake in all the funny conversations and stories that my friends and I tell, or I wouldn't know a lot of things. Like, he taught me a lot. You know, he was a very outdoorsy person who knew a lot about boats and cars, and, you know, now I can talk about that kind of stuff with my guy friends, and they're like, ooh, how do you know that? Well, you know, I've been around. So there are definitely good things that came out of it, but it's also, I don't think, worth all the nights I've stayed up crying my eyes out, or all the days I've missed school because I physically could not get out of bed. Like, it's definitely a pros and cons thing, and, you know, everything happens for a reason, I think. I don't know, people tell me that a lot, and I don't know if I believe that, but it's comforting to believe that. So if you just keep telling yourself that everything happens for a reason, maybe one day you'll see a bigger picture. Because if it wasn't for the relationship, I wouldn't be as independent as I am now. Like, when I was dating him, I was very dependent, very clingy, very, like, I didn't really have a personality. Well, I guess I had a personality of my own, but it was very dependent on my boyfriend. We broke up, and all of a sudden, I was forced to do everything on my own, and I didn't know how to function in society. I literally could not function in society, so it took a couple months of rebuilding myself, but now, like, I literally do everything on my own. I function completely on my own. Boys are no longer necessities. They're just arm candy. You know, if I want a guy, I can have a guy, but I choose not to have one. Or if I'm in the mood for one, I can have one, I can pursue one, but if not, like, I literally control everything that I do, and I like it because I finally, for once in my life, have control over what I want, who I want, and what I want to do, and I didn't have that when I was with him because I didn't really know how to execute my womanly power, you know? I know it's, like, super cliche, but you have to lose yourself to find yourself. I definitely do believe that. I have found myself, but I had to find it in a very, very painful way, and I don't know if it was worth it. But the way I look at it now is that it happened. It's over. I came out well. I have scars, of course, but I see things in a whole new light now. I can say I've matured a ton. I'm helping a bunch of people, and I've definitely turned my mess into my message and my test into my testimony, and I don't want to say there's no regrets because there are definitely always regrets, but there are lessons learned, and I can take what I learned from my last relationship and apply it to my next one, and that's pretty much all I have to say. So my answer, or the question is, do you think it's better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all? I don't know. It depends on the relationship. All my other ones, yeah, like, it's good that I loved and lost them because, like, we ended on good terms. I still talk to all the boys that I dated except for one. And the one that I dated, or seriously dated and no longer talk to, I don't know if it was worth it. But that's just one of those things I'll always be on the fence about. But maybe one day if him and I ever reconcile, and I'm not saying get back together because that's not in the cards for us, but if we ever come to a meeting point where we can at least talk or say hi to each other when we pass each other in the hallway, I'll reconsider it. But as of right now, I just don't know. So if you guys have anything you'd like to add, or if you want to answer this question, I would love to hear what you have to say. Maybe you can upload a video, maybe you can comment down below and tell me what you think about this question, and I would definitely love to hear the responses. And if you guys have any questions for me or any requests, I'm going to put my stuff down below and you can shoot in some questions or whatever you want, whenever you want. So thank you so much for watching. Have a good one. Bye.